All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Kelly Scotty, Director of Public Service for the City of Columbus. On behalf of the Mayor, I would like to extend a warm welcome to each of you on this rainy, brisk day at our East 5th Outpost, or East 25th Outpost in Fort Central, Ohio, Snow Rodeo. Yeah, this is the first time we've ever had the Central Ohio Snow Rodeo, so it's pretty exciting. This collaborative event with the Central Ohio chapter of the American Public Works Association, bringing together teams from Franklin County, ODOT, AEP, and the National Weather Service as we prepare to keep Central Ohio safe and moving this winter. Today's event gives us all a valuable chance to connect, share best practices with our partners, and at the end of the day, we are participating so that we can ensure our residents have a safe transportation network during winter events. Thanks everyone for being here today. Your dedication to Public Works is what keeps Central Ohio safe and moving all winter long. So, that said, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff Young.
Yep. Good morning. I am Jeff Young. I'm the Director for Franklin County Emergency Management and Homeland Security. Thank you for coming to our winter weather briefing. This is a project that really started about 8 years ago, where we had a snowstorm, impacted the proverbial morning rush hour, with mixed messaging going out, a little bit of confusion as to were we under a snow emergency, were we not under a snow emergency, which one of our critical businesses were still open, our institutions, and what their posture was. So sitting down with Sheriff Baldwin, we discussed the idea of developing a county-wide snow emergency plan. We are one of the few counties in Ohio that actually has a holistic plan that brought together our partners to discuss, how do we work together, how do we work collaboratively. Some of it has always happened intuitively, but how to bring some structure to that, realizing that most everybody here in this audience probably traveled through multiple jurisdictions, to get to this location throughout the day, and how our impacts, from snow events, ice events, just even the weather, the wet road conditions impact our residents and their desire or need to get to where they're going. So, as we developed that plan, we brought together stakeholders, kind of discussed what the impacts were to them, their jurisdictions, their infrastructure, what timelines they needed to be able to react to snow emergencies that fall under the sheriff's authority, and how that interacts together. So we kind of always rolled out a briefing, an opportunity for us collectively to give an overview of several of our partner agencies, what they may have in place for their winter weather conditions, some of the changes and/or challenges that they face on a daily basis. This has been a great opportunity to partner with Columbus to put this forward as part of the rodeo event, and bring some interest and some highlight to the challenges that our snow warriors and our plow operators face when they are in operation, and how to drive home that point to the public. So, with that, I'm going to pause here and introduce Sheriff Dallas Baldwin. Let him kind of discuss a little bit of what goes into his decision-making and some of his thoughts as it relates to snow emergencies and declaring a snow emergency level in Franklin County, which is as an urban environment, is not always easy and has wide sweeping impacts because of our different institutions, our government functions, some of those critical facilities that need to operate 24/7. It's not as easy in our environment here as you may think. So, Sheriff?
Thank you, Director, and thank you to everybody showing up today. It's that time of year again. It's time for adverse weather conditions to come in. As Jeff mentioned, I came in office in 17, and a little historical information. When I came in, of course, the sheriff calls the snow levels. You find out very quickly as a sheriff, there's no class for a sheriff. I call it snow levels. It just sort of happens. That year, we come up with a pretty good snowstorm hit. And we've gone to a couple of level ones that year, and level ones don't have a lot of impact, business-wise and otherwise. So here comes a pretty good snowstorm, and started getting reports about the roads blocked, the freeway's really bad to get across. And so we go to a level 2. On that level 2, I get a call from the county administrator, and he says, "Hey, Sheriff, you went to level 2. Yeah, it's pretty bad out there, Ken." And right away you find out that the courts are going to close down, and the code is going to be free, and schools are going to let it out. And you're thinking, oh, okay, now the ripple effect of making that call has a major impact on our communities. And about that time, I get it with Director Young, and that's when we started talking about we need to take into consideration more of what a snow level actually does to the community. And that isn't a call that I should be making on my own, but I get information from our partners. So we developed a committee that's a rather large committee. It takes in numerous organizations, schools, universities, hospitals, airports, police agencies, townships, you name it. About everybody's part of that large committee. Now within that, we kind of have a smaller group where we communicate all the time. So what happens is when the snow's coming in, of course Jeff will activate the emergency management, stays in contact with the National Weather Service, and getting the updates right away. And then he has a way to communicate with all of our partners. As that comes in, we start getting reports from, I get it from different police agencies, we get it from the National Weather Service, we get it from ODOT, we get it from the Franklin County Engineer's Office, the drivers. And so we take all that into consideration, and we start looking at who we're going to impact. And we want to make a timely call, because if we make a call too late, and it's going to affect kids going to school, we need to make sure that parents have the ability to make arrangements before that, or if they're picking up kids at school, if we call through the day. So there's a lot that goes into the decision to make a call. And when I make that call, it's for the entire county. So a lot of times we have to balance. The southern part of the county may not be impacted much at all, whereas the northwest part of the county might be getting slammed. And so we have to try to take that into consideration. We're seeing some changes in that in the sheriff's offices. We're trying to figure out how to maybe make that different on our call, so we can accommodate all parts of the county. We're working on that part of it. But to talk about a level 1, and to remind everybody, level 1 means that it's more than just snow. It is an emergency. Level 1 means that the conditions have deteriorated, and you should think about going out. We're not prohibited, but think about going out. If you don't have to, maybe not go out. Level 2 just means those conditions have really gotten much worse. Snow's blowing across the road. Snow plows make a pass. The snow's coming back over and probably can't keep up with it. And they're having to make multiple passes. The wind's blowing. It's just getting much, much worse. Level 2, I want to remind people, it is an emergency. It's life-threatening. You should not be out in a level 2. There seems to be kind of a feeling recently that level 1 means it's snow, and level 2 is just a little worse. It is not. Level 1 emergency, level 2 is really bad. Level 3, which we have not seen in Franklin County for many years, it is very dangerous. You should not be on the roads at all. When I make those calls, and I'd like to remind people, that does not mean that we are closing down businesses or schools from the sheriff's office. Now, they will take our lead when we make those calls, obviously, but we don't make that call. I don't declare that a business has to close down. If a level 3 does come into this county, we recommend that the employers make sure that you have identified your essential employee and give them some means of identification, so if they have to travel on the roadway, and this isn't just Franklin, this is all counties, make sure that your essential employees have some way of telling that officer, that deputy or trooper, that no, I have to be out here. My employer says I have to get to work. We don't designate which employers are essential to be open or not. That's their decision. As an employer, you make that call. But make sure that your people have the identification or the information to justify them being on the roadways. If you don't have to be out there during the level 2s and level 3s, don't be out there. No matter what a sheriff calls, it's no substitute for common sense. We can't see everything in the county. If you as a family member or employer, you see outside your windows, it's really bad. I recommend do not go out. Don't wait for us to make that call. Safety public safety with you and your family is the very most. And that's why we formed this committee. We want to make sure that we're communicating to our partners and to the community as often as we possibly can. We're looking at all new ways, different ways to get information out. As a sheriff's office, we're soon to launch a new app where we're hoping that the public will sign up for that and give you very timely information right up to date. And then we make a call, you'll have it on your phone. So there's a lot of things we want to do to be a good partner with the community. But again, I want to thank all of you for coming up. I want to thank Director Young for actually having the idea of the committee originally. And again, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Sheriff. For the media partners here, I will let you know, we're going to ask you to hold any questions until the end. I think all of the speakers will be available later if you have specific questions or want to get any specific, have any specific discussions with you. So I would like you to, Sheriff, work on one thing. It seems like every snow emergency we have evolves or is decided around 3 or 4 in the morning. I would prefer that to be during daylight hours, but we'll see what we can do.
Always snows at night.
So we'll talk to our NWS partners about that soon. So that's always a challenge. So and now as we talk about this a little bit, we've got various representatives for some agencies. All of them have unique responsibilities when it comes to road conditions, plowing, keeping our streets clear or working to clear them. So I'd like to introduce Engineer Brad Foster. Talk a little bit about the Sheriff's Office. I know it's kind of unique, and I know I learned throughout this process how the Engineer's Office deals a lot with what I would consider rural or areas that are impacted significantly by wind, some bridges, and what your roles look like. Engineer.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I appreciate that, and I also wanted to say, I appreciate you coordinating this workshop. It helps our agencies come together when bad weather comes to Franklin County. Once again, my name is Brad Foster. I'd also like to thank Scott from Tourville this year from the City of Columbus for hosting this event. This is a new location, so really appreciate the change in facility. We got kind of a regional rodeo going on today, so I really appreciate Scott's efforts from the City of Columbus, so thank you for that, Scott. Really for us, for the 24-25 snow and ice operation season, this task is completed by our highway maintenance department through teamwork. We really strive to provide the highest quality of snow and ice removal for residents and travelers within Franklin County. Our winter preparations include our not only training that's happening today. We've had our initial rodeo for just Franklin County staff previously, what includes our corn stalk program, along with our snow fence program. We're currently getting snow fence put up on the rural roadways, as Director Young mentioned. We use a lot of GPS analytics, snow and ice revisions to our routes when needed, anti-icing program. We really become in-depth in the weather monitoring, and also coordination with other government agencies. And really our goal for all this is to provide the most cost-effective way to obtain drivable roadways within Franklin County during snow events. We kind of focus, we focus really on 3 things. It's pretty simple in my opinion. It's labor, equipment, and material. For our office, we have about 25 snow routes, and for each of those routes, those are 12-hour shifts, so it requires about 50 CDL drivers for when we have a full call out. There's other support staff behind that, such as checkers, clerks, and mechanics that are also needed during these events. And this year we have about 775 lane miles of roadways that our trucks will be covering. And we do have current copies of our maps if you're interested in our snow and ice coverage maps that the Franklin County Engineers Office covers. Looking at our equipment, if you haven't had a chance, go check out the rodeo early this morning. A really nice event, a lot of display of the trucks here in Franklin County and all the different agencies. So really cool to see what everyone's doing with snow and ice technology on their trucks. For us, we got about 33 dump trucks in our total fleet, to spread our salt and anti-icing materials. And then for materials, we got 3 locations in Franklin County with about 16,000 tons of salt currently stockpiled, ready to go for this winter. And we also collaborate with the city of New Albany for materials up in the northwest area of Franklin County when needed. We also provide salt for townships and school districts at cost. So if you're affiliated with any of those, get with our office and we can help out with materials. Once again, I'd just like to thank everyone here as far as the Franklin County Commissioners, the Franklin County Sheriff's Department, ODOT, City of Columbus, Public Service, AEP and Emergency Management for this event, for hosting. And then really on my final comment, I'd just like to remind drivers, I guess, when you're approaching, snow plows, when you see snow plows on the roadways, a little quick comment that we use is don't crowd the plow. And it really means, kind of what that means is give that operator that's driving that snowplow plenty of space. If you can stay back, a few hundred feet or at least 100 feet away, you never know when that person's got to stop, potentially back up, maybe do a U-turn. There's a lot of different things that happen, when these snow and ice events happen. And really, if you can just give them a little bit more time to work, it ultimately will help out the drivers. So just wanted to mention that. And another thing that we notice a lot too is just the cell phones. If drivers are out there, when you're driving, just put your cell phone down, especially in winter conditions when there's a lot of things going on, and just in general, just keep your phones down. So once again, thank you very much. And Jeff, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, engineer. It's funny, I spent 30 years in the fire service. I drive a big truck. And I think as we were talking about the rodeo and kind of incorporating this together, I know the engineer's office is often at different times to let me drive a plow around the course. Scott had offered, here, we used to talk about how on a fire truck, when the lights and siren are on, people get out of your way. It's right, like driving down the middle of a big giant runway, and it's pretty easy. That's the easiest time. I can't imagine how I would embarrass myself if you put me in a big truck with a plow on the front of it. So my hats are off to go off to all the snow warriors and the plow operators and the challenges they face amongst our crazy drivers on the road. I can't imagine having it all then to deal with cul-de-sacs, residential streets, side streets, all of those issues that our City of Columbus residents deal with or bring with them. So, Scott, I'd like to introduce you so you can kind of talk a little bit about the City of Columbus.
Thank you, Jeff. On that note, related to neighborhood streets, the City of Columbus is in a very unique position that we have roughly 3,000 lane miles of residential neighborhood style streets. That's in addition to over 1,500 lane miles of priority 1 roadways. All told, that means when it snows and we get a heavy snow event, we service over 4,600 miles of total roadway to service. That's the equivalent of driving from Columbus to Los Angeles and back. Those roadways are very unique in character. Again, as mentioned, all of the city streets, the neighborhood streets, the cul-de-sacs, the places where our community lives. In addition to that, we have the downtown urban core, Front Street, Broad Street, High Street, the Arena District. So that has its own unique character. Similar to the county, we do have several roadways that are more rural in character. And then similar to ODOT, we do service State Route 315 and portions of State Route 104. So that 4,600 miles that we service is quite unique in character. For this season, we are absolutely ready and prepared. I would echo the comments on collaboration. We have a tremendous partnership, not only with the folks that you see here at the table, but with over 24 communities that make up Central Ohio. Those partnerships include servicing agreements, emergency salt sharing agreements, and they include not only the state and Franklin County, but other cities and townships here in the Central Ohio area. We have expanded our contractor program this year. We have also expanded our auxiliary staff program where we have trained non-CDL staff members to drive smaller pickup trucks and better serve the residential areas that make up this community. On the partnership front, we would also echo the sentiments about residents being our partners. Again, please do not crowd the plow. When you see our trucks or any other trucks out there, those are incredibly large vehicles. They are very challenging to drive in the worst of weather conditions. So please provide that space. For our residents, we would ask you to be a partner to your neighbors. Check on elderly or those who may need additional assistance during a heavy snow event. Try to park your vehicles off the street. Do not shovel snow into the street. That just clogs the street up and makes more work for us. And finally, we would highlight that our staffing is at fantastic levels. We are virtually full. We have hardly any openings, and the last few openings on our staff roles that we have are in the process of being filled. Our equipment is in great condition and ready to rock and roll for the season. And like the other agencies have shared, we too have finished up most of our training. Again, concluding with this event where we're able to showcase the skills of not only our drivers, but over a dozen of the area's best plow drivers at our community rodeo. So again, we would reiterate that we're prepped and ready for the season to serve those 4,600 miles, all in unique character. That concludes my brief remarks. I'm going to turn it back over to Jeff to introduce the next speaker.
Thank you. So then, the last road condition kind of to discuss is, our ODOT partners have the interstates, the state routes. Anybody who was challenged getting here this morning, had me scratching my head. I don't know what was going on with tractor trailers in the wee hours of the night, but they seem to be jackknifing all over the place. Probably helped along by small vehicles that decided they needed to tap their brakes or cause challenges for them. ODOT's got a unique situation in just the sheer volume of both local traffic as well as interstate commerce that moves down our roads. A couple years ago, had lots of conversations about what occurred on the I-95 corridor when they were slammed by a snowstorm, and really once that started backing up, the ripple effect of stopped traffic in the middle of a snowstorm, plows are just unable to get through, and so there's no way until the roadway clears the stopped vehicles to really clean it up and return to normal operations. So with that, I'd like to introduce Shawn Rostorfer, representing ODOT District 6.
All right, good morning. Thank you very much for the introduction, and definitely appreciate being a part of this collaborative event here today, just giving our drivers a chance to kind of display their talents and their abilities operating equipment. We're not far away from needing to use those pieces of equipment. So within District 6 here, we got about 5,000 lane miles that we maintain throughout District 6, with Franklin County kind of being right in the center of our district, with about 1,500 to 1,600 lane miles that we maintain here in Franklin County. That's made up of those interstate, state routes, and U.S. routes. U.S. routes and state routes that are unincorporated. Definitely worked well with the city and the county to kind of figure out what are those common sense turnaround points where we enter into those agreements that try to make our snow and ice operations as efficient as possible. Along with that, going through our winter operational readiness events, our equipment's in good shape, our salt buildings are full, and we're ready for the season. Our drivers have been through some snow and ice refreshers, some in-person training, some online training, just making sure that anything new that's come up that they need to be aware of, traveling those snow routes, seeing if there's any new obstacles out there that they need to keep in consideration when they do end up being out there on one of those snow and ice events. Bringing in those auxiliary drivers and seasonal drivers. We've been through several job fairs, filling those positions just to make sure that we have good, adequate staff to cover those routes during the snow and ice season. Also our facilities. We have 4 facilities here in Franklin County that we operate during snow and ice events, making sure that those facilities are in good shape for accommodating our drivers during those shift changes, making sure that they're adequately able to load their vehicles with snow and ice materials, liquid that we do for pre-wetting and pre-application of a pre-treating out there on the roadways, so that we're good to go. So we are prepared. We do look at some forecasting ahead of time, looking forward to hearing what the National Weather Service has to offer for us this year, and excited to take on another year here. So appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Shawn. So, one of the things that I rely on at my agency to make me look a little smarter is our National Weather Service partners who've got great forecasting products out there. Believe it or not, he won't tell you now, but they actually have every day mapped out through the winter, and I've already got the breakdown of what days are going to be snowy and icy, but they can't share it. It's super secret sauce, so just kidding. But yeah, I tell people many times, living in Ohio, over the next 3 or 4 months, it's guaranteed, and today's a perfect example, that we will have cold, crappy days, and we will have sunny, nice days. And one way or another, we will not escape it, and it's going to impact us all. So, kind of talk a little bit about the National Weather Service, some of your thoughts and maybe products. I'd like to introduce Brad Peloquin with the National Weather Service Wilmington office.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Brandon Peloquin. I'm the Warning Coordination Meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Wilmington, and with me is Christine Aina. She's one of our meteorologists, and we definitely want to thank Director Young, our great partners at Franklin County EMA, Sheriff Baldwin as well, for inviting us to attend this meeting today. It's been very active this year. This spring and summer, we had severe weather, tornadoes, flooding, and we're happy to be here today to talk about whatever hazardous weather we might expect coming this winter in December, January, and February. I also think this meeting is very timely because next week, November 17th through the 23rd, that's Winter Weather Safety Awareness Week in the state of Ohio. So we're already starting to think about being prepared and aware for winter as we look to next week. So everybody wants to know what the winter outlook is. What is the winter going to look like? And the official NOAA, or National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration outlook, is calling for a weak La Nina to form this winter. And La Nina refers to cooler than average temperature of the waters of the Eastern Pacific. And we looked at a lot of past La Ninas and what impact they had over the state of Ohio. And many weak La Ninas in the Ohio Valley led to above normal temperatures for the December, January, February timeframe. And there's a signal for that this winter too. So we're forecasting an above normal or above average temperature period of December, January, and February for this winter. I think it's really important though, as Director Young mentioned, in Ohio usually we have variability in the winter. And I think we're going to see that this winter. There's going to be warm spells. And those warm spells could feature rain events that lead to flooding or even severe weather. And there's going to be cold snaps too. And it's during those cold snaps, especially in January or February, when we can see the snow or ice. Across central Ohio, the average winter snow is about 20 to 30 inches. And with that variability in mind, where we're going to have some rain events and maybe some snow events as well, our confidence in the amount of snow is on the low side. But if you look at a lot of recent La Nina events or weak La Nina events in Ohio, it turns out that snow usually was a little bit below average. And that's what we're forecasting this year too, a little bit below average snow, because we're probably going to be seeing some rain events mixed in with those winter weather events as well. But I do want to put a caveat in there. All it takes is one storm to kind of throw that seasonal forecast out the window. If we happen to get one big storm that has a lot of snow, then that would certainly influence whatever that seasonal snowfall winds up being. So we think it's important to stress to our partners, the citizens of Central Ohio, Franklin County, be prepared for variability. Cold snaps with some snow and ice events, and warm spells that could even have some flooding or severe weather. Certainly when the National Weather Service sees the potential or likelihood for hazardous winter events with snow or ice, we would issue winter weather advisories or winter storm watches and warnings to let our partners and the public know about that risk. Typically, a winter weather advisory would be issued for nuisance snow, maybe a couple or a few inches of snow, or a glaze of ice. Certainly, this is going to lead to travel disruptions and impact for travelers. It's those more substantial or significant winter events, like snow of 6 inches or more, or ice of a 1/4 inch or more, that would prompt us to issue winter storm watches and winter storm warnings as well. Also want to point out that wind chill headlines will no longer be in existence this winter. Instead, wind chill headlines will change to cold weather headlines. So instead of a wind chill advisory, we would issue a cold weather advisory to focus in on the cold, whether there's wind or no wind with that particular temperature event. Same thing with wind chill watch or wind chill warning. We would instead issue an extreme cold watch or an extreme cold warning, focusing in on the cold weather. And the trigger points for us would be when we're forecasting an apparent temperature of as low as -10, we would tend to issue that cold weather advisory. If that apparent temperature is forecast to be -20 Fahrenheit or lower, we would issue an extreme cold watch or extreme cold warning. So in addition to these products, we will continue to provide weather briefings and updates to our public safety partners, especially emergency managers, departments of transportation as well, when we see that risk of impactful or hazardous weather coming. Jeff, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Brandon. So, in addition to our roadways as being critical infrastructure, one of the things that we've all learned, or maybe intuitively already knew, is, our power grid, our power distribution system is critical in today's world, in today's environment. And, so we've got a great working relationship here locally with AEP Ohio and AEP in general as it relates to, our power distribution system. It's interesting to watch, and we have lots of conversations about the fact that, a little bit of ice or wet snow on lines in conjunction with wind is exceptionally damaging to the system, whether it is tree limbs coming down or just the weight on those lines at different times, because they all age and have varying ages of the infrastructure that are there today. So, we've included our AEP partners, and I know Mike Lascola is going to talk a little bit about what AEP Ohio has in place or is doing to prepare and how they respond. In my days in the fire service, I had a couple of different winter events where there were large-scale power outages in central Ohio. Occasionally, we ended up interacting from a fire and EMS standpoint with the public. We're always kind of, when is my power going to get back on? When is my power going to get back on? And I always felt very comfortable. Just like clearing roadways, I would tell people, I said, I don't know when your street will be back on, but I can tell you that they will keep working until it is. So it's a pretty impressive operation. So I'd like to introduce Mike Lascola with AEP Ohio.
My name is Mike Lascola. I'm an external affairs manager with AEP Ohio, and I'm going to reiterate what everybody else said. Thank you to Director Young and all of the folks at the Franklin County EMA for bringing us together. It's a great venue for us to all talk about and collaborate on how we're preparing for winter weather. I also want to thank all of the road warriors, because we can't fix what we can't get to. So our trucks have to be able to get to where the damaged poles and lines are to be able to make those repairs. So what does AEP Ohio do to prepare for winter weather? Well, we have a group of meteorologists, and we really listen to what they're telling us. Having that information at our fingertips helps us know the magnitude of the storm, where the storm is likely to hit, and it helps us prepare our crews to get where they need to get. And also it helps us to communicate with our customers. When we know what's coming, we can help our customers prepare. And I think the theme of the day is being prepared. Knowing more about storms and where they're coming and how bad they're going to be also helps us understand whether we will need to go and reach out to other utilities to bring in assistance. It's called mutual assistance. And if we need to pick up crews from other utilities, that helps us as well. As you might have guessed, we have had a lot of crews down helping with hurricane relief, and the host utility asks for assistance, and they also pay those bills. So it's nice to know what's going to happen with those meteorologist reports. Every day we're out there in the communities doing regular maintenance. We're working, investing millions of dollars to help keep our lines ready to deal with anything that might come about. But as you can tell, trees are our #1 power outage cause. So when we get ice on trees, when we get wind blowing trees, that's a problem. And that report makes me a little bit nervous that less snow, more rain, more cold temperatures. Ice is what's the biggest damaging factor for us in our lines, as Jeff mentioned as well. So some things that our crews do as well. Our crews are preparing their trucks. We've got an opportunity for pairing up people on crews, because if somebody's on a pole, if somebody gets into a situation and they're out there alone, that can be really dangerous. So what our crews do is they pair up during severe weather. The crews are also preparing their trucks and equipment. Our trucks have a lot of hydraulics. We need to make sure that we maintain that, keep our tires good, our chains for the trucks so we can get to where we need to get. Our folks need to wear appropriate clothing and footwear. We have to be able to withstand, because when we're out there on poles, it's like the sheriff said, it's at night, right? Our guys are out there, our line mechanics are out there at night when the wind's blowing and it's cold, so we need to be prepared for that. And we also work to take frequent breaks. We need to keep our eye and be watching out for each other, because if we get tired, if we get cold, we're not as good. We're not fit for duty as we need to be. So what can you expect when we do have power outages? Like I said, wind and ice, number one. But what can you expect? First and foremost, you'll see our damage assessment crews out there figuring out what needs to be done. And as repairs begin, we have a 4-step process really for restoring power. First, we focus on critical infrastructure like hospitals, nursing homes, police departments, fire departments. We get those other first responders ready to get back out there. Then we go to large clusters of customers where we can get an entire circuit back in at once, or an entire neighborhood. We keep working backwards on those groups of customers until, like Jeff said, we get down to the last customer. It might take a little longer as we're working on individual homes, but we stay out there until every customer is, in fact, restored. I want to take a minute to talk about how customers can prepare. We recommend that all customers have a basic emergency kit. Blankets, water, flashlights with batteries. Make sure that you charge any devices that you might need. Have medicines in place that you will need during those times. Prepare that emergency kit so that when the power, it's always the first one. It's always the first outage that catches people. Be prepared for that. And especially if you have any medical needs or medical concerns, make sure that you have a plan for options that you can take advantage of in the event of a longer and enduring outage. And also stay connected. Pay attention to what we're saying. We're sending out a lot of messaging, but so is your local agencies. Make sure you pay attention. You can follow us on Facebook and X. And I know that one thing that's really helped us with our outreach and our communications is the Franklin County EMA. They can help us push messages, push text messages out so people get that message on their phone and they're well aware. I just wanted to provide this quick safety checklist. Check your local forecast. Pay attention to what's going on and be prepared. If you see down lines, always treat them as they're energized. Call us at 800-672-2231 or call 911 if it's true emergency. Check on family, friends, neighbors, elderly neighbors. It's always nice to have somebody checking in to make sure they're okay. Sign up for text alerts, aepohio.com/alerts. Again, like I said, follow us on Facebook or X. And of course, safety is number one for us, for our employees and for the public at large. Always stay away from any downed lines. I always make this comment, and people laugh, but when there's a downed wire, if it's energized, it's not sitting there shooting sparks out like on cartoons. A downed wire is like a snake laying in the grass. It can be energized, you'll never know. Stay away from any downed wires. Stay as far away as possible. Keep others away. Always treat it like it's energized. Don't attempt to cut or remove trees from lines, because that's just putting yourself in harm's way. You can get more information on safety from us at aepohio.com/safety. We also we also understand that when the weather gets cold, electric bills get high. So we want to make sure that our customers are able to pay their bills and take care of what they need to take care of. We have multiple programs that we can help you with. You can reach out to our 800 number again, 800-672-2231, or at aepohio.com/assistance. We have an average monthly payment plan. Customers can average their monthly bill out throughout the year so they don't have big bills in the winter and the summer. You can also, we'll make payment arrangements, payment extensions to help people out, and we have this neighbor-to-neighbor program where we share and we can help customers keep the money that goes directly to their electric bill. And I just want to again say thank you, Jeff, for having us. Our crews are going to be ready. You can expect our crews to be ready. And this is a great time for customers to prepare as well. Stay safe. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Mike. Well, I think we've kind of covered the broad spectrum of what we're collaboratively doing to prepare for this winter. This is a great group to work with. It's representative of a lot of different disciplines, focuses, needs, so thank you all. You make my job easier. To the partners in back who are here participating in the rodeo, seeing who's got the swiftest or the best plow driver, thank you. I interact with and am supported by all the local jurisdictions, and so it's really that collaborative effort in Central Ohio. So it's really the Franklin County or the Central Ohio way that makes this kind of all successful and makes my job and my life much easier. To our broadcast and media partners, thank you for being here. This is really the outreach to you, because you're critical to this public notification process, the information process. We've seen a trend over the past, or at least I've observed a trend over the past several years, adopted by schools, a lot of governmental entities on delayed openings. I continue to kind of trumpet the cause of now is the time for institutions, entities to think through, when there is 4, 6, and 8 inches of snow, regardless of snow emergency level, what are you directing your staff to do? What is your operations going to look like? Do you need your staff sitting in traffic for 2 or 3 hours with everybody else? Or can they just stay off the road, let the snow warriors do their business and their job, and have them come in and be much more effective later? So with that, I will thank everybody for your time. I hope our snow warriors came in and got a chance to warm up a little bit, as we're getting a little taste of the cooler, more traditional November weather that is the bane of the existence. I know Scott was hoping for dry, sunny temperatures. I think we've held this, this kind of this panel or this briefing, for at least 6 years now. We've covered every extreme out there. We've had rain, we've had snow in the air, we've had a little bit of ice, and we've had sunny and 70 degrees. So welcome to Ohio. So with that, thank you all for what you do on a daily basis. And that concludes our briefing.